We are live on Instagram and now we are live on Facebook.
Hey, man.
I'm going to need you to lean in because I can't see you on either one.
You know, I forgot to turn the volume off on our phones.
Ooh, okay. We'll be okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Rhonda, and this is my handsome husband,
Andrew.
And we are
32 Forever.
We are coming to you live tonight with, I don't know if the subject is really that comfortable for me to be talking about.
Well, we're not going to go into no explicit details about anything.
So, tonight we'll be discussing...
Hey, can you give everybody the premise behind 32 Forever?
Didn't you do that last week?
Yeah, but if anybody tuned in this week that didn't tune in last week.
Y'all know us.
Come on, man.
The ones that tune in.
No, but just go ahead and give a premise for 32 Forever.
Okay.
For those of you who catch us on YouTube.
So, if you don't know us, we have been married for 30 years, and a couple of years ago, we celebrated our 30th wedding anniversary, where we had a full-out wedding with reception and everything.
Why do we have a full wedding?
I don't know, because I wanted
it. Not only that, our first wedding
over 30 years ago was something that we wanted, but I was very pregnant and getting ready to go into delivery, so I had to have a quick wedding. And my dress was a purple muumuu that I had on, and he was in his military uniform, and it was all great and everything. My mom did a fantastic job hosting our ceremony.
So did my mom.
And your mom.
Don't forget about my mommy.
I didn't forget about your mom.
Okay.
And, but yeah, so we celebrated our 30th wedding anniversary, I think like 2-3 years ago, something like that. And one of our close dear friends, my sister baby, she thought that, it would be great for us to be able to talk about it and share it with other people, because we've been married so long, and some people actually think that we've got a good marriage.
We do have a great marriage.
So that's pretty much the premises behind it. He did a better explanation of everything last week, but that's my take on it. So,
and we have some things that we always have candid discussions between the both of us. We're always talking about stuff and
things that married couples tend to go through, and
right.
Things that people that are getting in relationships tend to go through that they don't even think about or think that might happen, because you have family interferences, you have sexual interferences, you have financial interferences. There are so many different things that can go on, and then you just have people trying to push up on your relationship. Right. So, and we've pretty much been through all those. And the way that we came out, we just thought that you might want to talk about it and see if God can do it for us.
He can do it for you too.
He can do it for you too, because this one right here,
I was hell on wheels, boy.
A piece of work.
No.
Yes, he was, and I was a fighter.
Yeah. So, we just in our conversations, we in our private conversations, we talk about a lot of stuff that we've been through, gone through, and we still talk about those things, which are very important in your relationships today, is that you still discuss the past with your spouse. Even though the past is the past, still talk about those things, because some of those things, they bring healing when you talk about them.
And it's not necessarily talking about past hurts like that,
right.
Bringing up old things from the past, but how you overcame some stuff.
Yeah.
That might be, good to revisit. People go through things, but we did this. God brought us through.
It's okay to pat yourself on the back as a couple when you've overcome some things.
Yes.
It gives you a good reminder of where you came from in your relationship.
Absolutely.
And it's important to think about those things. And I know you're looking at the topic that we have for tonight, Between the Sheets. We actually pushed this one off from last week because, both of us...
I ain't gonna try to talk about it.
Nah, and look, one thing that we just said we weren't going to do is get explicit about certain things. But I was thinking about this.
I'm gonna be looking like this the whole time.
No, you won't. Trust me.
Okay.
Do you trust me? Do you trust me?
Of course I trust you, babes.
Okay. But here's one of the things that I want to talk about. When it comes to between the sheets between a husband and a wife, when you how do you approach the conversation of sex with your spouse? You know, because some people they don't talk to their spouses about sex. You know, how many people out there, honestly, you have this discussion with your spouse concerning sex, not about sexual position and all that, but you know, you and your spouse being intimate with one another and how you both of you make each other feel. Go.
Okay, so you talk a lot.
No, I really don't.
So my whole thing was, when I was talking to you about this, it was not more of between the sheets, but sometimes you have sexual insecurities and how one spouse from the other spouse might not feel comfortable with certain things or maybe certain aspects of their body that they don't want, you know, to be seen, or a certain way that they don't do or don't want to be touched. And because I know I don't think that I'm insecure, but I was brought up as a young lady living in the house with my grandmother as a person that you don't walk around the house without any clothes on. You get up in the morning, you go straight and get dressed, and you sleep fully dressed. And that's just the way that I was brought up, and that's something that I've never been able to get past, even though you would like for me to. And it's not that I'm insecure with my body. My body is my body. I mean, I gotta live with it, so I have to be comfortable with that. And when it comes to us making love, I will do what it takes to please you. But at the same time, when we're done, I'm getting up and putting some clothes.
But see, here's the thing. You know, you brought up some insecurities. How do you approach your spouse when you're discussing these things? Even and for those of you who might not even be married or might be leaning towards marriage,
you don't need to be discussing that.
No. These are
you should discuss it before.
These are things that
some of the things
that you need to discuss these things with your soon-to-be spouse or whatever, or with your spouse. You and your spouse should be having
open and honest
conversations about this stuff.
What could possibly be expected in your sexual relationship?
Yeah, because you might. Both my wife and I, we're totally opposites concerning sex. You know,
are we?
No, I'm not saying nothing crazy, but what I'm saying is my appetite is a little more is real big and robust, and hers is not. And me being
approved.
No, you're not approved. But what I'm saying is, this is a conversation that we had to have. See, because with me, I would be satisfied to be between the sheets every single day, 3-4 times a day. I would be cool with that. But I know you're not like that. So this was a conversation that we had to have with one another to say, I forgot to turn the ringtones off. But the conversation that we had to find a balance and a happy medium with our between the sheets life. You know?
You can say our sex life,
but
that's what it comes down to.
We had to find a balance. And see, if you don't find a balance within your relationship, it can cause a big problem. Because one spouse will shut down completely, and when they shut down, you won't get anything. And then next thing you know, if you're not secure in your marriage, it could lead you outside of the marriage, because you feel like you're being neglected. You're being neglected, and you got needs that have got to be met. What?
I don't.
You side.
I mean, I don't know what to say in a situation like that. I mean, we've had discussion. I mean, we've had discussions. I mean,
what?
I don't know what to say, because I don't feel like I have I don't have a high sex drive, or
Mm-hmm.
my appetite is.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is.
You okay? You good? You fine with me? I just said it's just two differences between us.
There are differences between
and
us.
we had to find
You
a
do-
common. We had to find a common ground for that works for us.
And see, the thing that men, I don't know if men seem to think this, but women think about sex just as much as men do. Men follow through a lot faster.
There's a lot of women who follow through.
I
out there
mean,
now.
but it's like we have to, as a woman, me, okay, I'm not going to try to say what another woman feels, but as a woman, I have to have some kind of emotional attachment to every moment that carries on us becoming intimate. So when if the moment is approaching and something comes up that might tick me off or make me angry, then even though my mind was saying and my body was saying, yes, let's get ready to get this on, you just threw a monkey wrench in it, because now, even if I want to get it on, you done perturbed me, so it's not happening.
And see, I'm totally opposite.
Yeah.
See, that won't bother me. I would like she said, she has to have the emotional attachment. I don't necessarily have to have an emotional attachment every single time.
I mean, I don't, because even if you've done something to perturb me and I feel like you really need to be taken care of.
I really be needing to take care of every single time.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
No, you don't. You just be being nasty every single time.
I do.
If I can tell that you need to be taken care of, regardless of if you upset me or not, as your wife, as your spouse, as your helpmate, I'm gonna do what I'm supposed to do in order to satisfy you. But I'm not gonna say that I'm doing it begrudgingly, but I am. My mindset is in there. Hurry up and do what you got to do and get off me.
Mm-hmm.
And I would rather it be.
So how do you have these conversations with your spouse though, so you don't get to those points?
You get to those points regardless. You talk to them. You talk back. Me and you can go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and you'll just be like, and then I'll just be like, so what? You want it? And then you'll be like, yeah. And then I'll be like, okay, come and get it. And I would go ahead and do. But see, you don't even really enjoy it when I give it to you like that.
Yeah, but it's still
because you're nasty.
But because some of these conversations could be very uncomfortable between you and your spouse, because one spouse may think that's all you think about.
That's all you think about.
No, it's not.
That's what you think about 95% of the time.
I think about it a lot, but that's not all I think about.
But the thing is that, okay, so I don't think so much that will be an uncomfortable conversation as it will be an uncomfortable conversation when it comes to if you are in a relationship and you are having sex and your needs are still not being met.
Oh.
Now, in a situation like that
could be a big problem.
And that could be a very, very difficult conversation to have on either the man's part or the woman's part, because one of y'all got to tell the other one of y'all that, baby,
something ain't right.
We're going to have to talk about this, because I'm going to need a little bit something else.
Yeah, because one of y'all might be feeling like you're a rock star and you're not doing nothing.
Well, the only thing is that in either one of the situations, you have to be respectful of the other person's body.
Right.
You always, always have to consider them and what they are feeling. And even if they're going through something medical, or if it's physical, or if it's mental, you always have to be respectful of the other person's body. And when you approach this conversation, because this is, even if it's when you approach this conversation, because this is a person that you love, you have to approach, I'm not going to say with kid gloves, but with that.
A lot of wisdom.
Words, exactly. The words that will be comforting and decisive at the same time. You don't want to say anything that's going to hurt the other person.
Right.
But you do want to get your point across, and you don't want to do a lot of beating around the bush, because it's easy to get into the conversation and you start beating around the bush and the whole subject get kind of out of whack, and then you end up having sex, but it still ain't what you want.
Here's the thing: have a game plan.
Yes, sit down and think about what it is that you exactly what you need to say, because like you could have a person that's having a physical a medical reason why they're not performing to your satisfaction.
Mm-hmm.
And I can talk about me because I am a woman of a certain age. I am perimenopausal. I also have lupus. I have a lot that's going on with my body, and I have desires, and my husband will do anything to please me. But when it comes to if he's being a little rough, I don't have a problem with. I personally, I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem with telling him anything. If I feel like he's being rough, I will say, babe, hey. If I feel like he's being too rambunctious, hey, same thing as being rough. And if I think that he's being a little freaky, I'll be like, hey, I don't have a problem with stopping him and letting him know, my body is not in the mood for all this playing that you feel like doing right now. But the thing is that you have to be willing to have the conversation to be like, whatever it is that I need at that time, I can talk. I feel like I can always talk to you about whatever my sexual needs
because the
are.
Experience is just not one person's experience.
Absolutely.
It's both
of your experiences, and you have to be able to communicate those experiences or those needs to one another.
Things that you like, things that you don't like.
Yeah, don't touch me like that.
How if you know that your spouse is not being able to get you there, and you're being left short all the time, then when you like you said, when you have that conversation, you're like, okay,
it's how you approach it.
Okay, now you get lovingly, babe. Look, we're good together. We straight, but I think that we need to work on some things within the dynamic of what we're doing to make the experience a little better,
more pleasurable for both of us.
More pleasurable. Not the words. It's the way that you package it and present it.
Right.
So you've got to really think about that, and then be very mindful of how you present it. And when you do, just say, this is no slight against you, but we can make our experience together so much more better if we work on some things.
Yeah, because when you are in a relationship with someone and it's always one-sided, and the person that is not getting to their total climax each time, that person is going to feel cheated, especially if you getting up and you'll be like, oh, baby, oh, yeah, that was great. But, I didn't mean to do that. But I'm just saying, I didn't mean to do that. But I'm just saying that if one person is always the one that's getting what they need, and then the one person is never getting what they need, what ends up happening? And then if they walk away, in the end, you're going to be like, what happened? And they was like, well, you just wasn't no good in bed. Well, why didn't you talk to me about it? Why didn't you tell me what you wanted? And the thing is that if you don't, and it always comes back down to communication. If you don't ever talk about the things that you like, the things that you dislike, the way that they touch you, the things that make you feel that comfort, that security, you need to talk about all that so that when y'all come together, your bodies mesh like a well-fitted glove, coming together and being as one. You don't want to be the one that's always you're satisfied, but I'm never satisfied. I'm always doing everything that and not getting each other there. You have to always
consider your spouse.
Please consider.
Always
your spouse.
Consider your spouse
and their needs.
You got to.
You have to.
You just can't think about yourself selfishly, but when you think about the other person's needs, you'll realize that all of your needs are going to get met while you're being unselfish, thinking about your partner.
Right. And if you have insecurities in the bedroom, if you're not comfortable with certain aspects of your body, or he or she is not comfortable, and you can tell that if they have some kind of insecurities about their body, because they're always like, I mean, because I do this. I'm not insecure. I don't care. I just don't like not having cover on me, and I don't like not having clothes on. So we might be in the throes, and I might be reaching for a blanket or a pillow to cover up some parts of my body, because I'm like, I just like being covered up. That's just something that, I mean, he'd be like, no, baby, I want to see your whole body. Okay, you can see it for a few minutes, and then I'm going to need some cover back over me. I need to be covered up. I would never be one of those people that you would see out in the streets showing her belly, showing her thighs, or showing anything, because that does not make me comfortable. So when you are in the throes of passion and your spouse wants to feel your whole flesh, if that would be satisfying to them, give it to them. Let them experience all of your skin. But they already know that you're not comfortable doing that, so they're not going to make you just walk around the house butt naked. They're not going to try to make you walk around the house like that. They will give you the opportunity to cover up if that's what you feel like that's what you want to do. So you have to be willing to do what it takes to please your spouse. You also have to be willing to do what it takes to listen and know what the other person needs.
Right.
And be willing and open to whatever their need is.
Yeah. It just takes a little give and a little take.
Absolutely.
And if you can give a little, then you can take a little. But if you're not giving up anything, then you're not gonna be able to take anything back in return.
And the thing is that you can't always be thinking that I give, and all you do is take. Both of you are supposed to be in this thing together. And when you come to that point and you're in the bed and you're making love, stop thinking about yourself so much. If you think about what the other person needs, then more than likely you're going to please one another.
Right, exactly. But like we were saying, this is a conversation that you need to have from the giddy up. I mean, you need to talk about these things, because that how many relationships, I know we know of some relationships, they just end it because I mean, everything else in the relationship was amazing, but that one particular part, because they didn't talk about it first, the sexual part.
I don't know nothing about that.
But it drew a wedge came between them, and then they were like, okay, I can't do this anymore. But everything else was great, but they weren't willing to work on that one particular piece.
And it might not even been that they was not willing. They didn't talk about it, so they didn't know. They just knew that either he was not pleasing her or she was not pleasing him. And they just kind of looked at each other every time it came time to have sex. It was like, I guess I got to do this again.
Exactly. And
you don't want to feel like that. Oh,
never.
My goodness.
Oh, my God, never.
You do not want to feel like that when it comes to the person that you love this person. So when you look at them, you want your body to yearn for them. Okay,
exactly.
So I can tell you something. Can I talk about the other day?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. So the other day we was having a conversation about a certain way that he feels and a certain way that I feel. And I was upset because I had this feeling that I was going through, and it lasted for like a whole weekend. It was fantastic. But it was the way that he feels about me all the time. Mm-hmm. And I had this urge, this hunger for him that I don't have all the time, but I had it. And I was like, I don't want to lose this. Because what you should have in every relationship, when you're in a marriage, in that relationship, you should have that strong desire, that strong yearning to want to be with the person that you love, to make love to them, to get that it's just a certain way that you feel. And if you feel like something is going to happen to interrupt that, this is the time that you're supposed to start talking. I was in tears because there was something that I was going through and I was feeling, and I'm like, I don't feel this all the time. And it could be because I'm perimenopausal. I don't know. But that particular time, the feeling was so strong, and he just looked at me and he was like, he didn't really know what to do, but he did feel bad that I was going through that, because I know without him even having to express himself to me like that, this is how this man feels towards me all the time. But he do express it to me. He always be like,
yeah, I always express it to you.
Come here, girl. No, I'm just playing.
You make me sound like a freaking caveman.
You a freak. So
you make me sound like a caveman.
But
that's
the
a
thing
bush in the
is
head
that,
with a stick and keep it going.
but the thing is that when you come together, or you want to come together, that's that passion, that desire. That, I mean, even if both of y'all have that passion, that desire, man, making love will be something awesome. What did that person say?
He said, look at how I'm looking at you right now. I'm just looking. There's nothing in my eyes.
Look at how you're looking at me.
I'm just looking at this. Ain't nothing. I mean, I'm not like
you don't be looking like that anyway, but you probably do.
I don't do that.
That longing look.
No. But like we were saying,
communication is key. You have to talk to each other about it. You cannot feel insecure in your communication. Be scared to tell the other person what you need and what you want and how they're making you feel.
Right. Because, when my wife cried the other day, it affected me. It did, because I never like to see you cry, number one.
Right.
And then when you were like, that feeling that you had during that time, you were like, I don't want to lose that. I want to keep that. I like the way that felt. I love this now. That feeling. And I'm like, dang, man, that, like you said, I feel like that towards you all the time.
And it's amazing.
That's what I've been trying to get you to understand for all these years. No, I'm just playing. Because we're amazing together.
Yeah, we're very compatible.
But when we had the conversation, that was a conversation at that time that we needed between the both of us.
We did.
Because I needed to hear that from you. And see, you need to hear these things from your spouse. You need to hear. You need to. Like I said, these conversations aren't easy.
They're not easy conversations.
They're not. And if it's easy for you to talk about it, then I don't know. Some might be a little off.
Now, sometimes you do have people that will get into those kind of conversations out of anger. And then they'll be like, well, you don't do this and you don't do
that's
that.
Wrong.
And that
you
is the
don't
wrong way
ever do that.
To approach your...
No, if you got any kind of insecurities.
No.
Because it's going to make those insecurities that much bigger. They're gonna seem like a mountain that you can never get over.
You just have to be willing to talk. I'm sorry, but that's the key thing, that if you love someone so much that you want to spend the rest of your life with them, you have to be willing to talk to them about anything. But when it comes to making love to another to your husband or your wife, if you do not express I don't mean to put it like this, but gratitude.
I'm grateful.
But you should express gratitude. You should express your love and let the person know how thankful that you are to have them in your life. You should express how nice it was making love to that person that night before or that hour before.
Yeah.
And if you want to hit it again. But if you are in that position where you want to continue on that same evening, you should be able to approach it in a loving way so that the person is willing to follow through and go there with you.
Right.
You should not ever be so forceful that a person feels like they're being forced to do it or feels like they are being raped.
Yeah.
So,
like I said, these are things that you should have a conversation about.
You should definitely
And
talk about
and the reason why that we keep harping on it is because your relationship can continue to grow, and you'll realize that the experience will be so much better.
Absolutely.
It'll be more enjoyable for both of you and not just one of you.
Absolutely.
You got one person doing what they do and they feel like, yeah.
And then you
got the other
go to
person
sleep.
and like, yeah, and then your other person like, really?
Right.
But when both of you end up feeling like you can be like, man, we good together. We it's all right.
Cuddle and go to bed.
Exactly. And
in bliss.
And everything's good, and then both of you are feeling satisfied. Both of you are feeling the care and Mike just said, and I was just gonna say intimacy with one another.
Absolutely.
He says, can one have sex without intimacy?
People have sex all the time without.
Yes,
intimacy.
you can. You can have sex without intimacy.
They do it all the time.
But I love the word intimacy because it's like into me you see. So when a husband and wife are engaged in sex, it's intimate. It should be intimate. It should be into me you see.
When two people are coming together anyway, you have to realize it is not just your bodies that are commingling.
Your spirits.
So much
your
more
spirits
is involved
are
in that.
Exactly.
And even if you're just having sex, it's still not just your bodies. It's not just your bodies.
Your spirits are intertwining.
To think about what you're doing and who you're laying up with on a regular basis. You don't just go laying around with anybody. And I know that might sound harsh to some people who might be young and single, not married, and they are out there and they're having themselves a good time. But young people, please think about this. When you are out there and you are involving yourself in any kind of sexual relationship, please remember that your body that you are sharing with that one person is being shared with. You're sharing your body, but the body that you were with the night before also.
Exactly.
It's not just you. You are incorporating so many more lives into this one person that you're laying up with now.
Right.
So you have to always think about that. And I know people don't care about that. But when your spirits are intertwined, you don't know what you're taking back from that person. You don't know what kind of energy you're feeding off of each other. Those spiritual demons, all that stuff, them demons be jumping. I'm telling you, y'all better be careful out there.
Right.
So when me and my husband, we come together, we already know that we are cleansed. We've prayed. I heard somebody say that they pray, they fast, and they do all this other stuff in between their sexual intercourse, and that's with your spouse. I do pray. I pray like I'm supposed to.
We don't pray and fast between each and every time.
No. When it comes time for us to get it on, we finna get it on. We gonna still do our nightly prayers or whatever, but we not finna be saying we finna stop and pray. If that's what you do, that's what you do. But when we get ready to, no, we about to.
It's because and she'll tell you, I love spontaneity.
Yeah.
I don't mean like in elevators and cars. No, I mean like don't plan. You can plan, but.
I don't plan. Like some people have Wednesday nights, Friday nights. If that works for you.
On the calendar. They put it on the calendar. See, that does not work for me.
Yeah, Wednesday night come up and I'll be like,
we'll scratch this off the calendar for that day. Bro. Yeah, so Mike says the two shall become one. Exactly. The two shall become one flesh. And that is so important because if both of you become one, it makes the experience so much great. It'll be amazing.
The thing is,
I won't say you'll see fireworks and all that, but the the experience between you and your spouse will be so. It'll be very pleasing. I say.
I want to bring up something else. This happened a long time ago. And you can feedback on this too because it involves you.
Okay.
I remember when we were going through the last time we separated. Right before we separated, it was something missing in our relationship. We didn't talk at that time. we were having issues, of course, and for whatever reason, we decided that we wanted to make love.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it was strenuous before we made love, but after we finished, we kind of just rolled apart and just kind of laid there and looked at the ceiling like, what just happened? At that moment, I knew that I had to pack my bags and leave. At that moment, when my husband and I finished making love, I knew something was wrong and I had to leave. And it is so easy to tell. You can read your person's, if you know them intimately like that, you can almost read when something is going on.
Right.
And if you can stop what you're doing at that time and pull yourself back and stop and talk to them, regardless, I would have ended up leaving anyway. But if you can pull yourself back and talk, because when we did say something to each other, I looked at him and I said, "What happened?" And he looked at me and he said,
I don't know. I can't remember.
"Really?"
Nah.
We had just finished making love, and my husband said, "I do not love you anymore."
I said that for real.
Yep.
Wow.
That's what you said. You said, "I don't love you anymore." And I could not believe you just got off top of me and you said, "You don't love me anymore." Ladies and gentlemen, if you do not talk to one another about anything that is happening, if your spouse is not doing what they need to do to please you financially, and this is not just you, y'all need to be compatible with one another and talk to one another all the time about everything. If it's your finances, talk about that. If they are being mean to you or physically or mentally abusive to you, y'all need to talk about that. You need to fix it. Anything that is going on in your relationship, you have to talk about it. We did not talk back then the way that we talk now.
No.
Back then, he could have things that was going on and I would only know parts of the story. And I could have stuff that was going on. And I craved to be able to have conversations with him like that. But he was not open to having those kind of conversations with me. But with me craving to have those conversations and always going there, I just seemed like I was nagging. And he was pushing because he wanted to be out there doing what he wanted to do.
But let me just say, you got to teach yourself how to have those conversations.
You have to.
And to be able to communicate. You have got to make yourself do it. You know, I know
because it's not easy.
You might hear some men say, "Well, I'm just not a talker. I don't share like that." But you've got to make yourself do it. If you want your relationship, your marriage to survive, you've got to make yourself talk. You've got to make yourself share. You've got to make yourself open up and share to your spouse.
And you have to want to. If your relationship means anything to you, you have to want to be able to open up and take care of these things. Because if you don't, then it's just going to cause more problems.
I pray that you don't suffer a failure in your marriage.
Right. It's hard.
And see, that's the reason why when we were talking earlier, the reason why we come on and we've done 30 Till Forever is because of these hard conversations and our life experiences that we've had that we're sharing with you, so that you don't have to experience what we experienced. That there's something that you will get out of this that will allow you to for your relationships and your marriages to grow and continue to grow and blossom. You're like, well, hey, I know Andrew and Rhonda said that they experienced this, and yeah, we don't want to go here. So, guys, I'm telling you, I wasn't a talker at first, but I'm a talker now. I love talking to her. I love sharing with her because she'll tell you, I'm the biggest one to be like, hey, man, something ain't right. Let's fix it. Let's talk about it. Let's get this thing straight. And she's the same way with me. And you've got to be that way in your marriage. No matter what the topic is, no matter what the discussion is, no matter how hard it is, to be willing to share. And I will go back to the word intimacy again, which is into me you see. You know, you're opening. I know when you open yourself up, you feel vulnerable And I know some guys don't want to feel vulnerable. They don't want to appear to be vulnerable.
They always want to seem like they're strong.
Yeah, but listen, there's strength in your vulnerability. There's power in your vulnerability. When you open up and you're vulnerable to your spouse, that lets them know that you
trust them.
Trust. Thank you.
Because when you are vulnerable, you are opening up yourself to ridicule. You're opening yourself up to possibilities of people saying things that could hurt you. So when you open up yourself and you're being vulnerable with your spouse, you're letting the other person know, I trust you. I need you. Please help. Let's do this thing together. And if you can't do that,
but you can.
You can.
You can do it.
This is my best friend.
You can do it.
This is my best friend. I can go to him and I can talk to him about everything. If you have someone in your life like that, you are blessed. But what you need to remember that you always have to do is you can't ever shut down. You always got to be open and willing to talk about whatever it is that you're going through. When I'm going through my pains and my hurts, I can always talk to him. If he have a bump on his privates and he's like, I'm just saying, if I'm not saying that you do, baby.
I ain't saying I did, but I'm just saying.
Okay, if I have a bump on my privates and I'm like, babe, what is that? Okay, I'm just saying. Because if you have that where your partner is willing to look at your body and not get disgusted with whatever is going on, then I mean, you can open up and talk to them about anything. Because it's the same thing when I was telling you when they prescribed me that certain medication for lupus, and I was like, I'm not going to take it because it could cause me to have boils and my skin could just start, acting real crazy. And I'm like, I'm not going to do all that. I haven't had those experiences yet. And I was like, and I don't ever want you to look at me as though I disgust you, because that would hurt worse. Mm-hmm. So if I can be open and honest with you and talk to you about things like that, and then have you to be able to look into me, that intimacy, then yeah, we have to be able to open up to each other like that. I mean, on the regular.
Gorgeous. You looking at me with your eyeballs, man.
Thank you. But I'm just saying, you have to be open and willing to be able to talk to each other about that. Somebody just said a whole lot of stuff.
My aunt says, not making light of what you just said, but when I think back to my wedding night, yes, my wedding night, my hubby woke up and said that, what are you doing here? That was probably a sign, right? I can't see all of it.
Wow.
Where there it is. That was probably a sign right there to get out. As you know, I didn't. Just giving you guys a laugh, but it's true. He was hitting the juice and pretty hard that day. Yeah.
And when he said, I don't love you no more, he was hitting the juice too.
Yeah, I was.
But you wasn't drunk at that moment.
No, I could have been.
You wasn't drunk at that moment.
Ain't no telling.
I could tell when you, stopped.
Okay.
You was telling how you really felt, and even if you was drunk, that's how you felt, so that's what you was letting out. Right.
But see,
anyway.
But like I said, that my auntie, that very similar story from us.
Yeah.
So it happens, and like I say, preferably before you get married, these are if you're not married, these are conversations that you are having up front in the beginning, and it's not to make one person feel uncomfortable. Is to say, hey, we're gonna try to cut some things off at the past before they even come up, and when they do, and if they do come up, okay, we know how we're gonna approach them.
Right. And so the other thing that I'm gonna leave you with, because we have to go ahead and get off of here, but the other thing that I want to leave you with is when you are having these conversations and you're talking about your sexual insecurities or insecurities that you may have in general about the way you look, about your body, about anything in your life, like my lisp, that was kind of.
It's not bad.
Anything that you may have that you're insecure about, you have to talk about these things, because if your spouse know what they're getting into, or the person that you're going to be with knows what they're getting into and what they can look forward to, is because I don't like being naked. I don't like showing my body. I'm uncomfortable. This makes me feel weird or whatever. They need to know that, because if once the lights go off and it's whatever's turned back, and then you start acting all weird, and they in the bed and they ready to go, and then you standing over there in the corner like, I mean, they need to know. They need to know. So y'all, you have to have those conversations. And another thing that I had to tell somebody once upon a time is that everybody leaves a little glimmer, even when you're dating and you're trying to put your best foot forward. They always going to do something to show you their true colors, because they're always going to try to show you the best of everything. But when they start showing, when you start seeing them little quirks here, and then it'll pick up there, that's them. That's the real them. They just trying to impress you. So just be careful.
Mike, we'll end with Michael right here. Michael says the best reason to marry someone is because they are your best friend. I married mine. I agree 100%. Like I said, we're high school sweethearts, and just that I went to Harper, she went to Thurl, which at the time were kind of sort of rivals.
Go Panthers.
Go Trojans.
Whatever.
But anyway, that is an amazing start if you can marry your best friend. If you can become friends and best friends first.
Absolutely.
And here's the kicker. Here's the kicker for us. When we got back together, we became best friends again. We became very good, very close friends.
No, we became best friends because we had to, going through everything that we went to, we had to learn how to talk to each other. We had to learn each other all over again.
Right.
So in the process of learning each other all over again and learning how to speak to one another all over again, that was a growing process. Number one, I wouldn't want anybody to have to go through what we went through to get to where we are today. But in any situation, you have to communicate and learn each other, know each other. You have to get to know each other.
Yep. Well, guys, that's all we have for this evening. We're gonna get ready to about 15 minutes over. We love you guys, but this
wasn't that uncomfortable to talk about.
I told you it wouldn't be. I told you we weren't gonna get explicit. But
we would definitely.
But I appreciate you guys for tuning in.
Thank you so much.
You guys can go back and hit the replay if you didn't catch all of it, or you can get us on YouTube. I have this video posted up on our YouTube channel, 30 Till Forever, with the number 30 Till Forever on YouTube, and you can find us on YouTube that way. The video will be up in probably about a couple of hours. Also. So just hit the like, hit the share button, and follow us, and we appreciate it, guys. We love you guys. We want you guys to have a wonderful evening, and please, with all things, communicate with your spouse.
That's the biggest thing, communication.
Y'all be good. We love y'all. Y'all have a good evening. Bye.
I love you.